I don't like to practice rudiments. Basically, I don't like to practice. I like to play. I'm still a kid in that sense. I don't know any kid that likes to practice anything. Kids don't like to practice video games. They want to play them. They don't practice sports, they play sports. So I'm the same way because I learned as a kid. So my method is, if I was working on something, I would create a song that would allow me to work on the technique or the musical idea. And so that's where songs like even You Can't Hold No Groove, especially Classical Thump, that was on my very first record. Classical Thump is a great example because that was just a thumb exercise. It was a song that allowed me to go through different thumb techniques. And if you listen to the song that way, you'll hear the techniques progress. And that was a song I created maybe in the mid-'80s to help me develop and practice my thumb technique. But it wasn't until, I believe it was 1995 maybe, that I recorded A Show of Hands, that I actually completed the song. So I created exercises for tapping that turned into songs and things like that. And yeah, a lot of it ended up on my first record, A Show of Hands. To my knowledge, no one had done it, a solo bass record, no other instruments. I'm not saying that I'm the first, but I wasn't aware of anyone doing it. So I didn't have bass players to go off of. I'm sure there are people, great players like Abe Laboriel, Michael Manring, and people like that who are great, who can play solo. I'm sure they were working on things at the same time I was, but we were unaware of each other. And I didn't know of any solo records. So I was really playing off of the ideas of how a pianist would do it, or a guitarist, because that had been done. And so I looked at the instrument that way. I looked at the bass that way, as like a guitar or a piano. I knew that it could complete whole pieces. It could play whole pieces. But could I make a record with a 4-string bass that would keep someone's attention for 30 to 40 minutes? How to do that? And I was happy in the end that I felt I had succeeded. I had no idea what the public would think, but I'm very honored and happy now to know that people have really appreciated that record. All I had was cassette tapes, and I was at Fodera in New York, Brooklyn, New York. And I happened to be there, and they said, this is a fretless bass we made for Marcus, and we're shipping it off to him. And I said, okay, wait. And I grabbed a cassette tape and I stuck it in the pocket with a little note to Marcus. And it was the whole album. And I didn't know what I was going to do with the album yet. And I just sent it to him. I did the same thing with Stanley Clarke. I was able to get one to Stanley Clarke. And some way I was able to get one to Chick Corea. Oh, as well as Anthony Jackson, because Anthony Jackson lives in New York and is a big Fodera user from the very beginning. But the coolest thing is I heard back from all of them. I heard back from all 4 of them, and it was really amazing. Somewhere I still have the phone message I got from Marcus. I heard from Stanley, wonderful compliments from Anthony Jackson, who for years was verbally against tapping, against thumb playing, verbally. But he gave me some of the highest compliments. One being that he said I was the first guy that made him consider learning how to tap, because he heard something on my record, and at first he couldn't figure out how I was doing it, because he said it didn't sound like tapping, it sounded musical. And he said, how is he doing that? And when he found out it was tapping, he realized that tapping can be musical. I remember at a NAMM show trying to give one to a keyboard player named Greg Fillinganes, and he blew me off. He was like, no, I don't take tapes and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I understand. But some of the people or all of the people that did take it and listen to it are now friends of mine, good friends of mine. I've worked with all of them, played with all of them, recorded with all of them. And I owe a lot of my success to those people.